Some people say tourists simply don't know the rules. But is that really the whole story? At horse guards, the warning signs are there. The guards are on duty. The horses are not props for photos. And yet, some visitors still get too close, reach toward the reins, or act as if the rules do not apply to them. So maybe the real question is not only whether tourists know the rules. Maybe the real question is this: do some of them see the rules and choose to ignore them? In videos about the Royal Guards, especially the King's Guard horses at horse guards, we keep hearing the same excuse. Maybe the tourists don't know. Maybe it's their first time there. Maybe they didn't see the warning. Maybe they didn't understand the rule. And yes, maybe, that can happen. Someone visiting London for the first time may not know exactly how things work around horse guards. Where to stand, which line not to cross, when the guard might move, how close is too close to the horses. Not everyone researches these things before they go, but there is another side to this. Do you really need a special rule to know you should not get right in front of a Royal Guard horse's face? Do you really need a big warning sign to know you should not reach for the reins? And blocking the path of a soldier on duty? Is that something someone really has to teach you? I think that is where the real question begins. Because some things come before rules. Respect, distance, understanding someone else's space. Most people who visit horse guards already understand this. They keep their distance. They take their photos. They do not disturb the horses. They do not step into the King's Guard's path. No one gives them a private lesson. They still know how to behave. But then, there are some tourists who act as if this is not a real place of duty at all. They do not seem to see the guard as a soldier. They see him as some interesting figure they happen to find in London. They do not seem to see the horse as a living animal. They see it as part of the photo. And the warning sign, to them, maybe it is not a serious boundary. Maybe it is just another sign in the background. And that is when the line gets crossed. Sometimes the guard shouts. Sometimes the horse becomes uncomfortable. Sometimes the crowd suddenly reaches for their phones. But we always come back to the same question. Is this really about not knowing? Or is it about knowing, but not caring? Honestly, in some clips, it is hard to say they didn't know. The warning is there, the crowd is standing back. The guard's path is clear. There is a soldier on horseback doing his duty. So when someone still gets too close, still reaches toward the reins, still acts like they are trying to get a reaction, at that point, it no longer feels like just a lack of information. It becomes a matter of attitude. What can happen from one photo? What is the problem if I get a little closer? I'm just a tourist. Nothing will happen anyway. Maybe that is the most dangerous way of thinking, because a place being popular with tourists does not make the duty there any less serious. And just because a tradition happens in front of the public, that does not mean the public can treat it however they want. The Royal Guards are not a street performance. The King's Guard horses are not standing there for tourists to touch. There is duty there. There is discipline. There is a crowd. And most importantly, there is safety. Now, some people will say, then put up bigger signs. Make the lines clearer. Put barriers there so nobody can get close. And yes, that can be discussed. Maybe in busy places like horse guards, some of those things could help. But we still have to ask this. If one person sees the same warning sign and respectfully stays back, while another person stands next to that same warning and still pushes the limit, is the real problem the sign? Or is it the way that person sees the whole situation? I think this is where the issue really sits. You can put up a bigger sign. You can make the warning stronger. You can place more staff around. Around Buckingham Palace or Horse Guards, the boundaries can be made more visible. But if someone has already decided, I'm not taking this seriously, then even the biggest sign can become just another part of the background. And honestly, some disrespectful tourists do not look like they failed to see the warnings. They see them. They just do not seem to care. That is why we keep seeing these moments where the guards have to shout. Because at some point, the warning is not enough. Some people only notice the boundary when someone reminds them sharply. But then, of course, another argument begins. Why did the guard shout? Wasn't that too harsh? Is that how you treat a tourist? But what about the few seconds before that? Why was that person so close? Why were they in the horse's space? Why were they interfering with the path of a soldier on duty? Sometimes we only watch the result. We miss the reason. And these warnings are not only there to stop tourists, they are there to protect everyone. The tourist, the guard, the horse, and the crowd behind them. In a crowded place like that, even a small movement can suddenly turn into a much bigger problem. Sometimes people act as if all of this is being taken too seriously. Maybe they think, it's just a photo. But it is not about the photo. It is about respecting the space of a soldier on duty and the boundaries of a living animal. So this is not only about warning signs. There is something deeper here. It is about respect. It is about attitude. It is about whether people truly understand the tradition they are standing in front of. As these videos spread across social media, Horse Guard starts to look to some people like a place where they can get a reaction. But Horse Guards is not an entertainment area. It is a place of duty. Yes, tourists can take photos. Yes, people can watch this tradition. That is part of what makes the Royal Guards so special. But watching is one thing. Crossing the line is another. Getting too close to a guard's horse, reaching for the reins, or blocking the guard's path. That is not simple tourist curiosity anymore, especially when someone is only there to provoke a reaction. That is disrespect. So what do you think? Could some tourists really not know the rules? Or do some of them see the rules and still choose not to care? Are the warning signs at Horse Guards enough? Or do they need bigger signs, clearer barriers, maybe even stricter penalties? And if you have seen Horse Guards, Buckingham Palace, or the Royal Guards in person, write your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Were the warnings clear enough when you were there? Or do some people just do whatever they want, even when the rules are right in front of them?